live from the studios of the WBCR radio station. You're listening to Beyond the Box Score. Welcome back, folks, to Beyond the Box Score. Our first time doing the show in a month and a half. It's great to be back here for Monday, February 5th, 2024. My name is Sean, and as always, I'm joined by Max and Oscar. How the hell are you guys doing?
We're back.
Great, man.
We're back.
We're
Finally.
all the way back.
Finally.
We kind of missed the most important part of the football season.
Yeah.
But that's okay because we made it just back in time for the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we're catching up a little bit. We're going to give you guys. I know you guys were really curious to hear what we had to say on all those playoff games, so we're going to catch you guys up.
Yeah, and as evident today, there's no camera, but hopefully our next time on there we will have camera. But on the board here for the first time doing the show is Miad. Miad, how you doing?
Hey guys! Oh my God! What's up? What's up?
Yo.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Let's go.
So guys, what do you guys think of the Super Bowl? It's a big time matchup.
Yeah, I guess we'll get right into it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm excited. There's a lot of narratives, a lot of, I don't know, two teams. One of them I expected to be there. The other I did not. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. Who do you think has what players and coaches you guys think have the most at stake here in this game?
At stake?
Who is the most to prove?
Brock Purdy,
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'd
I was
say.
going to say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he will silence all critics if he outperforms Mahomes.
Yeah. But if Brock Purdy shows up in this Super Bowl, it's going to be big time for him because there were people doubting him. And look, those critics are fair, but I don't think he's terrible by any stretch of the imagination either. You know, I think he's better than half of the quarterbacks in the league, and I think he proved some things there against the Packers in that fourth quarter. Yes, in the rain he wasn't able to throw that great, but getting down that stretch, he was spectacular in that fourth quarter. And I think in this game here, I think he needs to continue to prove that. He was also great against the Lions in that big comeback too. The Lions went up 21-7. Niners come back all the way to take the lead and win the game.
Mm-hmm. Before we get into the specifics of like the 49ers and the Chiefs and how they match up, what do you guys think of this matchup? Because I know a lot of people were like, oh, this is the worst possible outcome. A lot of people were pulling for the Ravens, the Lions.
Me included.
I personally, I'm interested to see what you guys think because I personally don't mind it. Like, to me, these are the two best teams in the NFL this season.
Exactly. I don't mind it. And back in September on our first show, I predicted this was going to be the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, I don't mind this. It's two big heavyweight teams. It's not like the Niners and like the Jets. You know, these are two great teams, two giants in this league. And I think this is going to be a big time game. Oscar, what's your take on this game and how it's all going to play out?
I'm excited. I'm not upset that this is the Super Bowl. I was upset that the Lions, particularly the Lions, lost, even more so than the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Super Bowl I wanted. It's especially sad for the Lions because I think that team's kind of going to evaporate.
You think so?
Yeah, unfortunately.
I hope not, but
I think they're going to lose.
They kept Ben Johnson, which was huge.
Yeah. Well, is he for sure staying?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I don't know. They could lose some coaches. I forget what the contract situation is about. I hope it doesn't change. But you'd really hope that those coaches stay there.
Yeah, I mean, an opportunity like that. That's why you have to take advantage. Like the Eagles are a good example of, not every year is kind of guaranteed. You don't know what's going to happen in the next season. So it is kind of a bummer that the Lions didn't make it all the way. But I think let's start with the 49ers because we already talked about them a little bit. So they finished the season number 2 ranked offense, number 3 rushing attack, number 4 passing attack, and then number 3 overall in scoring average, almost 29 points per game. Me and Sean were kind of talking a little bit before the show. I don't think this game is going to be extremely high scoring because of how well the Chiefs defense has played. But just across the board, I don't know. Who do you think's going to have a big game as far as the 49ers offense?
Has to be McCaffrey.
I
think McCaffrey and Debo too. I could see him having a big game, maybe late in the if they're on third and 8, I could see Purdy getting it deep into Debo instead of just having McCaffrey rush it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm expecting big games from McCaffrey. I'm expecting a big game from Debo, and I'm expecting a big time performance from that Niners defense too. It's gonna be interesting to see like what the strategy is gonna if they're trying to double Kelsey right from the get go, or if they're gonna wait for him to get going a little bit and then put pressure on him. It's gonna be interesting to see the defensive strategy from the Niners standpoint.
Oscar's McCaffrey, the Swiss Army knife, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could say something different, but I mean, the Chiefs' defense, I think it was I'm pretty sure they were the 28th best, or I guess in that case worst run defense in the NFL this season. So that would be how you beat them. You got to beat them with little screens, Christian McCaffrey running away. That's why I think Debo could be a really interesting player for this game. As long as he's healthy, as long as he can play and play well, I think he could really hurt them. Because this defense can be ran on. I forget how many. I wrote it down, but
McCaffrey finished with 1,459 yards this season. That was first in the NFL.
Yeah,
14 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry, all across fantastic numbers. And then, as Oscar said, they also got Debo and Kittle too. I think he kind of gets lost in it.
He kind of gets lost in it just because how much firepower that offense has, where it's sometimes like he doesn't do anything all game, and then he gets a 6-yard rush and a touchdown, and it's like, oh, Kittle's there. And I feel like people forget about him. So it's going to be interesting because I feel like I could see Kittle having a slow start to the game, but as the game goes on, if what they're trying, if like the CMC run game isn't working, if they try to go to Kittle. So I honestly see this game being pretty not high scoring, but it'll be back and forth in terms of scoring. Both defenses, I think, are going to have good games.
I think it's going to be a pretty low-scoring game. I was really impressed with how Spagnuolo came up with the game plan against the Ravens.
The blitz packages were crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I think that's going to be. I think Spagnuolo and Shanahan will kind of cancel each other out as coaches.
Yeah.
But I think Andy Reid will beat Steve Wilkes in the coaching battle in the flip side of that matchup. So I think that's what's going to be the difference.
Okay. I have an interesting stat for you guys. So we mentioned Brock Purdy a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Did you guys know he has a 132.3 passer rating, 15 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions against the blitz this season? Pretty unbelievable stats.
That's incredible.
And, so I don't know. We're gonna see how Spagnuolo's defense kind of affects him. I think that's gonna be really interesting to me. Obviously, Mahomes is gonna do what Mahomes does, but that matchup against a 49ers offense with Hall of Famers all across the board against a very much improved Chiefs defense this year. That's what I'm most looking forward to.
Look, and with this Niners team, right? I get that the Chiefs are the big time or the big dog in the NFL. I get Taylor Swift is going to be there, all that, the Kelsey Swift, all the attention that's going to get. The Niners have no better chance to win the Super Bowl than they do right now.
You think so? Because
they had excuses in the past few years. Purdy was hurt. Our quarterback wasn't good enough. Now this is the perfect storm for them. This is a championship team that they have, and I think that they need to win this game. They need to prove something here because the Chiefs have been the top dog for so many years now that I feel like this is the Niners team that has the ability to dethrone them.
I'm going to disagree because you still don't have to pay Purdy for a little bit. Once his contract is up and then you have to pay him the big bucks, then that window kind of shrinks for them. But right now, like they're going to be the same exact team. They're going to be great next year. Yeah,
if they can keep all those receivers together, C-Mac, all that. I totally agree with Max. I mean, as long as they've got Shanahan,
I'm not too
and the NFC is looking soft right now to me. Like in the future, man, it's just not looking very good. The Eagles have to turn it around.
Cowboys have to
win big playoff games.
Yeah.
The Lions and the Packers are kind of on the come up.
Yeah,
but then there's also teams that are kind of like fading away.
Yeah, but also I don't see the Packers or the Lions being able to really compete against the Niners. Like, I mean, that's why I love NFL playoffs. It's just one game. Anything can happen, but I don't know. I think this 49ers team will be back for the next few years. As long as, I mean, it is football. It's a really violent game. Anything can happen.
Because I'm not going to lie, even when the Packers were up in that game against the Niners a few weeks ago, I'm like, the Niners are still going to win this. They're too good to lose to the Green Bay Packers. And
what about when the Lions were up 17?
Well, I don't know. Should we?
I was ready for a Lions Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's finish up Super Bowl talk.
My bad. My bad. Okay.
Let's switch to the Chiefs side. So Chiefs defense, like I mentioned earlier, their defense has played a lot better. 17.3 points per game. That's second in the NFL. Second in yards per game. They've allowed 21 or fewer points in 7 of their last 8 games. And the passing defense has allowed the 4th fewest yards throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
So, I made a very tiny list of 5 difference makers, guys that will make or break this game. I have Chris Jones at the top of that list.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they can really limit the impact of McCaffrey and win that kind of battle at the line of scrimmage, then it's going to take so much pressure off of Mahomes and that offense. I'm really interested. I think their defense is healthy too. They have Bolton, they have
so.
Gay. So
Last time I checked.
That's what I'm really interested in, and of course, you guys can talk about the offense a little bit.
Well, I just want to add on. I agree with you a lot, Max. I mean, I don't know. Coming in, I wasn't thinking like who's the most important player. That's a good question, but it's hard to disagree with that because I mean the key to beating the Niners. I don't know. People can get mad at me. People call me a hater, all they want. But the key to beating the Niners is the weak link is Brock Purdy. You got to attack him and force him to make silly decisions with the football, force him to throw interceptions, and try and be too much of a hero. That's what I think back to the time when right after Christmas, or was that Christmas Eve, when the Ravens stomped all over the Niners. That's how they beat them. The pass rush they kept coming after Purdy, and after a while he just tried to play hero ball too much, and he threw that ball away too many times, and that is how you beat them.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to put that, like Oscar said, that front line pressure on Purdy, because once he gets it down to Debo or Kittle, or is able to pass, or even write a quick pass to McCaffrey's going to run that ball down the field as much as he wants to, honestly. So I feel like with the Chiefs, they need to put pressure on Purdy right when he gets the snap. Don't even give him that quick few seconds to even look what's downfield as an opening, because if you're able to get the ball away from McCaffrey, from Debo, guys that could kill you with runs down the field, you're going to have success.
Okay.
Yep.
Transitioning over to the Chiefs offense, Patrick Mahomes on the season, 27 touchdowns to 14 interceptions, 261.4 yards per game. Not the most impressive season we've seen out of Mahomes, because the bar is kind of as high as it can be right now.
But that's an impressive season for any other quarterback.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
Well, I actually think it's been an extremely impressive season for Mahomes. For the Chiefs offense, not so much. But for Mahomes, I think he's been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like he's kind of doing it's almost like a reverse Brady thing, where he just came into the league first and he just played with the confidence of a veteran. He was doing all those crazy passes, just doing whatever he wanted, just trying things out for fun.
Yeah.
And now he's like early career Brady, kind of, where he's just like, I'm going to be smart with the ball. I'm not throwing this ball away. I'm making smart passes, and I'm not giving you a chance to come back in this game. That's what happened in the AFC Championship game. They just did not make a single mistake.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen Mahomes on the 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15, and him somehow find a way to get that first down.
That weird run that he has, the scramble.
And I did not expect this, man. It's the Chiefs. I always knew they were going to be competitive.
Yeah.
Because we even called out the Chiefs like, this team isn't as good as the prior seasons. Now, this was the best defense that the Chiefs have had, but that offense left a lot to be desired. And Oscar, you even pointed out like this Chiefs team to look for other options. And I was like, they got to wait it out. Like, because I feel like for them, not to say that the regular season doesn't matter for them, but they have that championship DNA. They have that championship pedigree. They've been there. They've done that before. So they know what it takes to get to this point.
Well, I kind of think the regular season doesn't matter for them anymore. Is this their 6th or 5th straight AFC championship game that they've played in? And it's not the 5th or 6th straight that they've won, but I think
it's the 5th that they've played in.
Yeah,
it's the 5th,
or at least with Mahomes.
Mahomes has made it every year of his career, I'm pretty sure, except the one season, his first season that he sat,
Yeah. And yeah, I'd take it a step further than you.
It's 6, but
okay, yeah.
It's 6.
Yeah, so honestly, I'd take it a step further than you, man. I think as long as they make the playoffs, it almost just doesn't matter. Now he's really proven it doesn't matter because the question was, myself, I was just asking it just for fun. I knew what the answer was, but people were asking, he's always had home field advantage, but can he do it away from home? And he just went into Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson's house and took both their cookies, man. It's just like, what can you say to that?
We'll talk about it a little later on, but that Bills game was, God.
Before we get into like a playoff recap, who do you think on this Chiefs offense? Because we know on paper the Niners, their weapons are way better.
Yeah.
But who are you looking to have a big impact for the Chiefs offense?
Well, it's really interesting, man. They've really made in the playoffs. This offense is. In terms of receivers, or other than Mahomes, it's just 3 players. It's Pacheco, it's Rice, and it's Kelsey.
Yeah.
They let MVS ice the game the other day in Baltimore, but
Which
it's
was
really
funny
just
after everything that happened.
Yeah,
with him.
exactly. It's really just the 3 of those guys, though. And honestly, I don't know. Let me just say Travis Kelsey, because I think this is his swan song. Okay. I think if they win 110%, he retires.
Walks off on top.
Yeah. I think so. I think even if they lose, I think it's a 75% chance he retires. Because I don't know, him in this I don't know. There's some people on TV or something, or like just in sports media, who will be like, well, this was just the Chiefs playing all the time. No, I think that's BS. I don't believe that one bit at all. Like, Kelsey was not very good in the regular season, and I think these playoffs, I think he's really just summoned the last bit of energy he has. He's like, I'm just gonna ball out and just give it my all.
That last gas for like that one last Super Bowl. But for me, I think it has to be Pacheco because I feel like Kelsey's gonna get going a little bit, but then they're gonna start double and triple in coverage on him. And I feel like the Niners' pass defense is so much better than the run defense. So I feel like Mahomes is trying to, he'll get to Kelsey to get the first downs, but to get the downfield, to get the 2 and 6, the 3rd and 2, he's going to look to Pacheco to just run it in. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I feel like it all depends on the first quarter. What teams go to in the first quarter? If Mahomes is trying to go to Kelsey more, they're going to try to shut down Kelsey, which is relying on the run game. It all depends on what they do in the first quarter and how the teams adjust.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we do some score predictions?
Yeah, I think I think the player on the Niners with the most to lose or gain is Brock Purdy, because even if you are a skeptic of his, it's hard to say no to a guy who just won a Super Bowl in terms of like contracts and stuff. But I don't know, if he loses, then I don't think they're going to throw him out the door this summer. But I think it definitely, they're like, let's let this rookie contract run down, maybe try and find someone else. I think that's more likely what's happened. And yeah, I think that, I don't know, I'm excited to see how Kelsey plays, because I think this is going to be his last game in football.
Is there a matchup, like a Fred Warner, Travis Kelsey type matchup that you're looking forward to?
That's a good question, man. But here's the thing. Even in maybe I'm spoiling a bit about what we're going to talk about, but even in that Ravens game, man, there was a few plays where it was Hamilton versus Kelsey 1-on-1, but they were kind of treating Kelsey like he was a pretty regular receiver, like not the kind of defense we've seen played against Kelsey in the past. And let's see if the Niners, maybe they will take a note from that game and double him up and take him out of the game.
Yeah. So or maybe a Debo and one of those, like McDuffie or one of those talented quarterbacks. That's a good matchup.
I didn't really, off the top of my head, I wasn't really thinking about that, but that's a good. Also, I want to see the Lions duke it out. I know that's not always the most exciting thing, but I want to see specifically, I want to see if Bosa can get through this offensive line. Because I don't know, the guards, Kansas City's guards aren't great this year. They've been allowing pressure. So if the Niners could, if one of those guys on the defense steps up, I don't know, that could be the difference maker.
Okay, so Oscar, give me a score. Give me a final score.
It's tough.
I'm gonna say Kansas City 24, San Francisco 17.
24-17. I like it.
Nothing too crazy.
Sean?
All right. I'm going to go Niners to win this. I'm going to go 24-20.
24-20.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go 30-20. I think we all have the same idea. Where it's
Yeah.
not gonna be super low
Yeah,
scoring,
no.
like a field goal battle.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be crazy.
And I also don't think it's going to come down to the very, very end. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
a tight game for most of the game. But I think one of these, in my opinion, I think the Chiefs will break ahead in the end. Like, I think the defense will find a way to stop this offense a few times and pull ahead in the end. Maybe you think the opposite, so.
I don't think, like you said, I don't think this is going to come down to a 24-21 game, depending on the Jake Moody field goal to tie the game. I don't think this will be one of those. I think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could easily see like a 14-14 half of just both teams going at it on offense, despite how good the defenses are. And so, yeah, I feel like the winner of this game is going to win based off of a touchdown. I don't think it'll ever come down. I don't think it's going to come down to like a field goal type thing. I think it'll come down to like one nice defensive stop or one nice play to take the lead and win the game.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I guess we can move on to a quick little NFL playoff recap because we did miss most of it during our absence.
The whole thing.
We basically
pretty
missed
much,
the entire fun part of the NFL season.
Hey, man, these lot community buildings aren't really up to snuff, so it's good that we got some renovations. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to complain too much.
Yeah.
We wanted to have winter
Yeah.
shows for you guys, but it
And-
didn't work out. It's
yeah.
okay.
It's all right, but hey, we're back now. And honestly, this was a fun playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good one. Man. It was a good one.
It was a little,
There
unpredictable.
were great moments. Not every
Yeah.
game was a banger, but there were some great moments. So should we just go round by round and quickly give our thoughts on each game?
Yeah.
I guess there's some games I think we don't really need to talk about, but like,
or we could just pick and choose like certain wild card games.
let's pick and choose. I don't really know if we need the wild card. Let's choose some of the divisional
all right.
ones.
Divisional, okay.
Or I don't know, maybe Max, you talk about the Cowboys.
You know what? Let's just do a couple quick thoughts on every game.
Okay,
So
sure.
rapid fire. All
Okay,
right, because
okay.
there's not that many. So Browns Texans.
The CJ Stroud show.
Yeah, I mean 45-14. This was a fun game going into it because a lot of us were kind of to start, starting to get around that Joe Flacco hype. But the Texans quieted that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Um,
CJ Stroud is great. There's not too many quarterbacks in the NFL that I'd take over him right now.
Really? Okay.
Well, if I was to, in terms
CJ
of,
Stroud,
if I was not necessarily to win a game tomorrow, but if I was a GM.
Is he
And you
top
want to
10?
build around.
That's a good question.
Like you're saying a quarterback to build your team
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
I think
exactly.
he's verge top 10.
Yeah.
He's
really
in the
close.
conversation,
Yeah.
certainly.
He's awesome.
Okay. Dolphins Chiefs 26-7. This was the horrible
The
weather
Dolphins
game.
were pretenders.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
were they weren't how good they were in the regular season didn't match what they did in the playoffs.
I think every part of this game, from the weather to everything, kind of went against their recipe for success. Where they were fantastic at home, and they really couldn't do much of anything.
I think that, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to just bully one player, but this is rapid fire stuff. That team, I like the Dolphins team. I like that team a lot, but you're not going anywhere with Tua. He's not good enough to play in this AFC and win you playoff games, not against his competition.
Yeah.
Every single year, as the season wears on and as the weather gets worse, he gets much worse, and it happens every single year. It's not only the weather, because he's also not playing great down the stretch in Miami towards the end of the year. But I think it's a combination of the weather, and he's a little bit too small, so I think he just gets beat up a lot throughout the season. I think. I don't know. Yeah.
And their defense was really injured, but they held the Chiefs to 26. Like that's not crazy. You could definitely outscore that. Okay. Packers Cowboys.
Honestly, I feel like we should let you just do most of this. This can be a Max solo segment.
You guys aren't aware of the score, 48-32. Pretty close game, I'd say, overall.
Did it feel like that watching it?
You know, dude, I've gone through a lot of emotions since this game happened. Yeah. I mean, look, obviously no one expected this to happen. I came into this game, honestly, we were going to blow them out. Like it was going to be over by halftime. Because this team, the Packers were so young. I get they were good towards, the second half of the season, but we had been so dominant at home that I really was not worried about this game at all. Maybe it could have been like close going into the second half, but we would have pulled away in that third quarter. No, that did not happen. In case you guys didn't watch the game, everything went wrong from the coin toss. Actually, that was pretty much when it was over. When they flipped the coin and when they walked right down the field, that's kind of when the game ended.
Yeah, it was just, this was bad. I think I don't know. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's like pretty old news, so I'm not really going to dwell on it for too long. But yeah, I think
they didn't fire McCarthy, by the way.
Yeah, that's the worst thing.
That is the worst.
You have to fire every member of that coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
That was terrible. And I don't know. And here, I've been known to like be a fan of Dak. I still am. And so I don't know, to all the people who are out there like, oh, he sucks, like get him out of here. My first question is, and replace him with who?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
And replace him with who?
I understand he's not top 5. I understand
he's top 10 though. I think he was top 5 this season.
He doesn't elevate
in the regular season though. That's
to me, man. You can't blame this loss on any player because if it was one thing, if
was
all
not
of
Dak's fault.
if all of his
Dak.
receivers were getting open and making plays for him, and he was overthrowing them or throwing interceptions, I'd say
the Packers dropped
his
48 points. Like I don't even think Prime Brady could overcome something like that. The defense was horrible.
Every single player played terribly, and I think that points back to coaching.
Yes.
Like if your whole team just looks terrible in a game like that, you got to fire every coach.
That's the thing.
CD Lamb looked like he didn't want to be on the field the first half.
Mm-hmm.
He
Dropping
looked
some
like
key passes.
looked like he was completely like out of it. And honestly, what ended this game for me was when the Packers went up 14-0, but on top of that, it was back-to-back touchdowns from Aaron Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you're giving up back-to-back touchdowns to the same guy in the first quarter?
I think they have more playoff wins in the Cowboy Stadium than the Cowboys do.
Damn.
So that's a fun little stat for you guys. Let's move on. NFL wildcard round still. We got the Rams versus the Lions. This was a really fun story.
Was awesome.
This was a great story.
This
going
was a great
into
game.
That was a great game.
24-23, the Lions come out of it. Obviously, the Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, quote-unquote revenge game. I don't think it was a revenge game for Stafford. More of it was for Goff. But this was awesome. This was a great game. I don't remember much of the specifics, but
it's been so long.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was tight.
I remember Montgomery being really good in that game, though. He was getting a lot of looks.
Yeah, their run. I thought their run game was just going to carry them through the playoffs, man.
It almost did, man.
It did.
Almost did.
It did. We're gonna get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Steelers Bills. Not much to say. This was
less said about that, the better.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Mike Tomlin for even getting them there.
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Honestly, did you see how he stormed out of the press conference after someone asked him about his contract?
He just walked out.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you know what? You know what I think would obviously it's not up this year. It'd be after next year. I don't know. How about what team I think he'd do a really good job at if he just went across the state and went to Philly.
You think so?
I think so. I think that would be scary. I think he'd coach that team
there's
really
no way,
well.
There's no way Sirianni gets
Well,
fired,
you know what the rumors
he
are.
Should be.
You know what the rumors are with the Steelers? They want Russell Wilson over there.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that would be an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah.
If Mike Tomlin is not, he would.
He's not the guy for Russell Wilson.
If Sean Payton and Russell Wilson didn't work out, Mike Tomlin and Russell Wilson's going to be way.
But the
worse.
way Sean Payton was so blunt about it too. He just didn't want the guy to start.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, well
It's
I feel like that's almost like a different conversation, a little bit old news now. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's just a different thing.
I feel like Russell Wilson's time is coming on. Honestly, I don't.
Okay. Well, we'll see what the
I
Steelers
don't know.
do.
I mean, like I think someone will probably give him a chance. We'll see what happens.
It's a great team, a great culture, a great coach that just needs the quarterback, which is the most important part.
Which Kenny Pickett is not that.
Honestly, I think it's more than the quarterback. I think this team's just. I think he should leave when his contract is up. I think it's best. I think the organization, because Tomlin, nor should he will never commit to a rebuild or commit to them like tanking. So I think he should just leave, keep coaching a team that has good pieces, and just let the Steelers rebuild. Because I don't know, they haven't been like they've made the playoffs a lot of years, but they haven't been an actual good team in a long time.
All right, let's move on. Eagles Buccaneers. This was a fun one.
What a great game.
Buccaneers 32, Eagles 9. Look, I think Eagles fans knew this was coming, but they didn't want to kind of accept it.
It was coming once A.J. Brown was ruled out for this game.
Yeah, not having him was huge, but I don't know. The study, the collapse of this team needs to be studied, I feel like.
Dude,
because
you go from 10-1 to just completely falling apart.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've seen teams that are like, quote unquote frauds, like the record is fraudulent. But this team just straight up looked like they gave up halfway into the season. Like the second that they got destroyed by the Niners, it was like, all right, we might as well just not try.
Honestly, even that Jets loss after that, I felt like it was the start of them not playing as well as they were before the Jets loss. But after that Niners loss, where the Niners just completely dominated them start to finish, that was it.
And how about Baker Mayfield? We should talk about the Bucs a little bit.
Fantastic comeback for him.
Yeah, he's going to get a good contract there.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, you think so? Would you pay him if you were the Bucs?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like you got your Super Bowl with Brady. I feel like you could just chill and have fun with Baker for a little bit.
He's a good quarterback. He's not, but
I feel it's weird. I feel like I don't know, from just like the podcasts and I listen to and the articles I read, I feel like it's the most positive I as an individual have been on Baker.
Yeah,
probably his whole career comparatively to everyone else. Like, my thoughts on him haven't changed since even when he was at the Browns. I think he's a quarterback who's good enough to thrive in an offense that's already well put together, but he's not good enough to make a mediocre one. He's not good enough to elevate the offense truly, at a top level.
He was given too much responsibility with the Browns a little bit. Yeah,
he's also kind of. I think he's like a read option merchant. Like he really thrives off those kind of quick passing move plays. But honestly, damn, we should have asked Tias for her opinion. She's our resident Bucks fan here at the station. But anyways, I'd pay him, man. He's on $4 million a year right now. I don't know. After that contract's up, I'd give him it depends on how much money he wants, man. What's Jimmy G's salary?
It's a bad division.
Exactly.
I'd say just pay him.
That's what I'm saying.
They won this division with a 9-8 record.
Yeah. Exactly. Because
the Saints couldn't get out their own way. But
and the Saints aren't going to be good for a very long time because they have a miserable cap situation.
Yeah. Kamara is nasty, but the rest of that team.
But that's the whole contract together. Do you know what it is year by year?
It's probably increasing salary. If I had to guess,
probably 21, right? 25 a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, give Baker, man, give Baker
27.5.
Okay.
27.5?
Thank you, bro.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Give Baker a little 21 or 25. That Jimmy contract's bad. I wouldn't give him that contract. But I don't know. Maybe put a bunch of incentives in there because he's one of those guys that's I thrive off the haters and stuff. So one of those.
All right, let's move on to divisional.
Yes.
Texans Ravens. We were all kind of. We got up in that CJ Stroud hype a little bit, and I think I wanted to believe, but no.
This was a tie game at halftime, if I remember. And then the Ravens.
Either way,
I thought the Ravens were up a score by halftime.
No, it was 10-10 at half, and then the Ravens outscored them 24-0 in the second half. Yeah, this was a fun game in the first half, but you could tell honestly this is one of those games where it's better talent wins out.
Yeah,
this was the game. Are just better.
This was the game where I thought I truly believed in the Ravens because the fact that they shut down Stroud, that defense looked so good in that game. I was a believer of the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I mean, there ain't much. There isn't much to say. The Ravens played like the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
The Texans were a team that no one coming into this year. I would have told you there's one really good player on that team, Laramie Tunsil. The offensive lineman.
Yeah.
So, I think that the fact that they won this division and got this far is amazing.
Bright future for them.
Yes. Very bright.
Yes.
Packers 49ers.
Just I would say pretty much the same thing, basically. I mean, I thought the Packers had a lot more of a chance to win this. I thought Brock Purdy was horrendous in this game. I thought he was so bad. He couldn't throw in the rain. And now, Jordan Love, man, he just... That interception was really bad. That was bad. He threw across his body to I don't know what receiver he was looking at, but basically I have the same energy for the Packers that I do for the Texans. I love the quarterback.
Right.
Good young team, man.
Yeah.
Just, reload, go again next year.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to get this far.
No.
So they got beaten by a better team, and honestly, the Niners, in that whole game, right? They kind of let the Packers hang around.
They did.
When I feel like they could have ended that game earlier, they just kind of let the Packers hang around, and that big interception, like Oscar said, that won them the game. And I feel like, Oscar, look, I know you don't like Brock Purdy. Hold on. All I'm gonna say is that he had a fantastic fourth quarter in this game. That's all I'm gonna say.
I want you. We're probably gonna hang out after this. We're gonna go to the bar. Okay. On the NFL's YouTube, they posted the last 20 minutes of that game. I want y'all to go back and watch the 49ers drive, and you tell me how many plays is it Brock Purdy doing something amazing? How many plays is it where he's throwing to a wide open receiver who runs like 15 yards? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. But there's room for. I'm not saying I don't know. Everyone people do this with all different kinds of things when it comes to sports. Just because I'm a realist, just because I'm the one who's giving them the balanced analysis, I'm called a hater just because I'm not
a believer.
Yeah.
Well, it's just true, man. I'm sorry. Watch that game, bro. He couldn't throw in the rain. You guys you were just saying the Niners should have finished them off earlier. Yeah, because they couldn't because Brock Purdy was playing really badly. I don't know. Go back and watch the tape.
I just realized we gave our Super Bowl picks, but we didn't say which team. Did you guys say your team?
I said the Niners.
Oh, okay.
I thought I said the Chiefs.
Oh, okay. My bad. I didn't
say yours, yeah.
30-20 Chiefs, my bad.
Okay.
Okay. First day back, guys. First day back. It's okay.
Remember, guys, don't listen to us for NFL predictions. Remember Monday Night Football, we got everything wrong.
My God, that was
for 5 weeks in a row.
We get most predictions.
Bro, we're sitting here every Monday predicting Monday Night Football games. We got it wrong every time.
Actually, it remains to be seen if you got the result right, but you got the Super Bowl matchup, right?
I said the Niners,
yeah.
I said Niners Chiefs with the Niners winning, so
we're
see.
not always wrong, folks.
Yeah. All right, you guys want to move on to
Buccaneers Lions?
Lions. This was a fun game too.
Yeah, another good one. I'm just so happy for the city of Detroit finally having some playoff success. I mean, the atmosphere in this game was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I really wish I was there.
While the Detroit Pistons look like a G League team, the Lions are winning playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
crazy.
I agree with you 110%, Max. I just felt so happy for the city of Detroit, man. It's a city that's gone through a lot, just not even in sports, just regular wise. It's a very depressed city. And sports teams haven't always given them that much to smile about, especially not the Lions. The Lions have been terrible since my parents have been alive. Not just myself. And I didn't know there were that many Lions fans in the world. Because those aren't because I don't think those are bandwagon fans. Because it wasn't
with an atmosphere like that, those are not bandwagon fans. Those are fans that have been waiting a decade and a half.
Yeah, they popped
game.
Out, man.
Yeah,
they popped all the way out.
They showed up too.
They thrashed the Bucs. Honestly, that's kind of what I was expecting. The Bucs,
It was an 8-point game, but it was they were up by 15, 16 until towards the end. The Bucs scored.
Mm-hmm. All right, last divisional game, Chiefs Bills. This was a fantastic game. I think this was probably my favorite.
This might have been the best.
This was the best playoff game. Yes.
27-24 Chiefs. This matchup between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, we should just be so thankful that we're going to be able to see this for many years to come. I feel like.
Yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so.
And Max, like you said, that Cowboys lost to the Packers wasn't on Dak. I do not think this was on Josh Allen at all.
No.
I thought Josh Allen had a fantastic first half. Now there were some plays he made in the fourth quarter where he could have done better.
He's going to get criticized for that final drive.
Gotten it to Diggs instead of trying to get it to, who was it, Kincaid?
Yeah, he went for the home run ball.
He went to the home run ball instead of getting it to Diggs right there. Other than that, though, I think Allen was fantastic in this game. It's just the Chiefs were better.
Chiefs were better.
Yeah, man, it's kind of a microcosm of just this. I mean, look, I love both of those players, but I really do struggle to call this a rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I'd call it
because the Chiefs beat them every time.
That's the thing, man. The Bills, Josh, he's always so good, and we always hype him up and talk about how great he was. But Mahomes and the Chiefs are always just a little bit better. Even no matter how good the other one is, it seems like Mahomes just always finds a way to just do a little bit more and I mean, look,
Bills will be back.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. It's going to be to me, I think I see the Ravens having an easier offseason than the Bills. Because, I don't know, the Bills still have some question marks like on their offense, like the receivers and stuff. What's going to happen to Diggs?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. But
when you have Josh Allen as your quarterback,
exactly,
you're going to be in the playoffs.
It's like what Joe Burrow said those years, like a couple of years ago. It's like, the window is as long as I'm here. And
great quote.
Yeah. That's for any great quarterback, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, actually, that'd be a fun exercise segment we can do later. We can try and figure out how many quarterbacks in the league do we put in that category. But whatever. That's neither here nor there.
NFL Conference Championships, baby. Here we go. Let's start in the AFC.
What a disaster
Chiefs,
this game was.
Ravens. This was a crazy game. From Lamar Jackson catching his own passes to
Zay Flowers
what else
dropping
happened?
the ball.
Oh my gosh. The score does not do this game justice for how entertaining it was.
Oh yeah.
Oscar, your thoughts, my man.
Man, this was a crazy game. I mean, I picked the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. I picked Lamar to win the MVP. I mean, there's so many different things you could say. I mean, look, I feel like since we kind of talked about the 2 Super Bowl winning teams at the top of the show, maybe we kind of go a little bit more in depth with the losers in this part of the show. But I mean, look, man, one of these teams had been to 6 straight AFC title games, and the other one hadn't been to one since they won the Super Bowl in 2013. And you could tell which one of those teams was which.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess let's start with the Ravens, maybe. I mean, look, this was. I don't think people talked about enough. This was one of the best regular season teams we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. Like, truthfully, like there honestly is a strong argument that they should have gone undefeated this regular season. They were leading every game by, like, they were leading in every game until like 2 minutes. I think they were only losing those games by they were only losing in those games with like a total of 2 minutes. Like all three, they only fumbled it at the end. But yeah, like I said, I mean, the defense got right in the second half. The defense was amazing.
Yeah.
The defense shut down Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know, some people say like, oh, if the Chiefs need to score again, they would have. But I think they would have liked to score again anyway, and they didn't.
They didn't, but at the same time, I feel like they were also daring the Ravens to try to beat them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
and they just weren't able to.
Yeah, that's what I was saying at like the top of the show is Mahomes just the Ravens at a certain point, it was like they were waiting, like, please make a mistake, please make a mistake, give us a big like interception, give us a bad fumble, and the Chiefs were like, we're just gonna keep winning.
To me, this game seemed like Lamar kind of lost his way a
Look,
little bit.
If you want to put blame on players, which I'm not a fan of because it's a team game.
He was trying to pass it. Way
you can't
too much.
have 2 turnovers in the end zone. You're not going to win a game, especially a playoff game.
No.
So if you want to blame, Zay for reaching out, a lot of coaches don't really advise on doing that. If you want to blame Lamar for throwing into,
should have just ran it in.
This offense I think, they couldn't get it done. They just, I don't know, they got stuck. It was like a deer in the headlights kind of thing. Like you saw, I think that, look, there's a few, for my first thought, I think all these years of having, in the beginning of Lamar's career where he had Greg Roman as the offensive coordinator, I think that really hurt his growth as a passer, and I think that it really sucks that they weren't in positions like this earlier in his career. Like I really think this is like the Ravens' first real playoff run with Lamar where he's actually had enough weapons to like win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think even though Todd Monken's won 2 national championships at Georgia, I think you just could see his inexperience play calling in this level of the NFL. Like they kept spamming passes. The Ravens running backs, which had one of the best running games in the whole NFL, and they were playing the team that had the 28th worst run defense. The Ravens running backs had 8 carries for a combined 27
really
yards.
bad.
And you can say like, oh, they were stacking the box. Oh no, what were you going to do? Dog, like, it's the Ravens, man. Like you
have to.
And there was some
like
there was that play on 4th and 2 where Lamar ran it and stuff, and it worked. And I don't know, like at first I wanted to say like, Lamar, you need to run more, because I don't know, I'm playing amateur psychologist for someone I've never met.
That's why I'm saying Lamar kind of, I feel like, got in his own head. He kind of didn't know what to rely on.
It's a bit of that, but it's a lot of it was very obviously play calling to me, because I don't know. There's one mic'd up moment where you could see Odell was like, after the game it got released, Odell like went up to Lamar and he's like, bro, you have to run, like they're cooking us. And I think that he would have run more if the play calling had advised him to. But that being said, I agree with you, Sean. I think that he did also kind of have a bit of a moment where he was like, all the people that called me a running back, like, I'm going to show you guys that you were wrong.
Yeah.
Which they were wrong anyway, but like, he was like, I'm going to like beat Patrick Mahomes by throwing a lot, and that just didn't happen. But also, my last thing I'll say, I've been talking a lot this segment. Sorry guys, but like,
No,
you're
a Ravens fan.
I don't know. I mean, I watched this. I mean, I thought they were going to win, man. I'm not going to lie. I've been watching this team a lot.
I picked him, but in my heart, I knew that you couldn't really.
It was more in my head.
Because then when you see the betting lines going towards the Ravens, it's like.
But the last thing I will say is
against Mahomes.
I think even Lamar didn't have a great game, but I think the worst part of this Ravens offense was the wide receivers. Zay came up with 2 big plays, though he played like a rookie. He lost his head. Like, he didn't play smart. But Odell was nowhere. Bateman was nowhere. Andrews, understandably, was nowhere. Likely was nowhere.
Yeah.
That's why I give credit to this Chiefs defense. Like, so they put a blanket all over all those wide receivers.
Any option Lamar had, on top of him not knowing exactly what to do at all times with the ball, just didn't end well for the Ravens.
Yeah, because the reason I'm not giving as much criticism to Lamar as some people are is because, and I am giving him criticism. I don't think he was good enough, but there were a bunch of plays where you could see he was looking downfield. It's not like he was making a bad decision, but he was looking, and there was just nobody open.
That on top of the Kelsey Mahomes connection was on that game.
That whole game. You want to move on to the Niners to close this out?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. My last thoughts, I guess, experience just won out. You know?
Championship pedigree won out.
Exactly.
All right. 49ers Lions. 49ers took this one 34-31. This was another fantastic game, but also a very, very tragic game. I think a lot, the majority of the country was probably pulling for the Lions on this one.
First off, that Ayuk pass that came off the helmet and he just caught it in midair, ran into the end zone.
Unbelievable.
That's such a demoralizing way for your opponent to score.
Yeah.
I feel like once that happened, I was like, uh-oh. I kind of had a feeling that the Niners were going to win once that happened. So, because to score in that fashion is incredible.
So the Lions were up, I think, 17. Is that the right number? 17.
So, yeah.
They were up 24-7. Yep.
And after this game, I think Dan Campbell has kind of been in the crossfires for his aggressive play calling.
Yeah.
Now,
always
I'm curious,
going forward on the fourth down type of stuff. Yep.
I'm curious what you guys think, because there are people who are on side A, where you should stay with your aggressive. It's what you've done all season. You should stay with that kind of play calling. But then there's people on the other side, side B, where they're like, okay, this is the playoffs. This isn't a regular season game. This isn't week 3 or whatever. You need to be smart. You need to take the points here.
I feel like it all depends on the scenario of the game. Not just if it's a regular season or playoff game, but what is the smarter thing to do. And honestly, a lot of those fourth downs that he went for weren't necessary. You could have just given the ball back to the Niners and get a stop. I feel like he tried to do it a little too much because it worked so well that he kind of got in his own head against a team that honestly was better. Because if the Lions won this game, it would have looked bad on the Niners. I think so.
I am of the belief that if they take the points, they go with a more conservative play calling, I think they win this game.
I don't know. I
think so, yeah.
For me, I don't think we can criticize. Like, the reason why they got this far was because of Dan Campbell's his rah-rahness, his willingness to always go for it. So I feel like asking him not to be brave and not go for it on fourth down. It's like asking Lamar Jackson not to run in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, it's what you're so used to.
Or it's just silly, It's like that's who he is.
Not that,
but it's not who you see with Belichick and Andy Reid, these incredible coaches of these past generations. They don't have the Madden brain where they're okay, I'm not going to kick field goals. I'm going for it on fourth every single time. I don't know if that's the recipe for a Super Bowl championship.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a good chance it's not. I mean, With that being said, man, I mean, we saw the Chiefs go for it a few times these playoffs on 4th and short, and it worked out pretty well. I don't know. I'm usually a fan of if it's 4th and 2, 4th and 1, go for it. That's just me personally.
It honestly depends. If it's the fourth quarter, then yes.
And
but if
think
it's the second quarter,
I think more often than not it works. Like statistically,
like if you have a great running back like a CMC, you go for it.
Yeah, but it's also, I do disagree with the idea that if they had been more conservative on those downs, then they would have won the game, because what cost the Lions the game was bad execution in key moments from the players, like the fumble and things like that. I think that was more costly than the not making it the conversion on 4th down.
Okay. Any final thoughts on really any of these playoff games?
I think
going
I'm
forward?
good. I think this Super Bowl is going to be great.
Yeah, I think
It's going to be close.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Kansas City's going to win though. It's just
So you got Kansas City, Max has Kansas, so I have the Niners. We'll see.
I could see it going either way.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Um,
You guys want to move on to the All-Stars just real quickly?
sure.
Yeah,
sounds
sure.
good.
We got a couple minutes.
Yeah, sorry. It was a very football heavy episode this week, guys. We just had a lot to catch up on. Football season's almost over.
A lot to talk
we
about.
We had a month to go over.
So we got 4 minutes left.
So all right. So the East starters are Giannis, Joel Embiid, who's going to be replaced.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, and Damian Lillard.
Most people were pretty upset with Brunson
not making it. All right. Here's what I propose. You don't do fan voting for All-Star anymore. You get rid of that. 50-50 coaches and media.
I like it.
Because honestly, like, how Damian Lillard might not even be an All-Star at all this season. He hasn't been that good, to be honest. Brunson is playing the best season of his career.
I mean, 25 points per game, 7 assists per game.
I think he deserves.
I think he definitely deserves.
Okay,
but
let me not say that. He makes the All-Star team. But
what Brunson has done, we're biased because we're New Yorkers, but what he's done for New York basketball and the different vibes that this team has, I feel like he should have absolutely made it over like $2 in the starting lineup. Like absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. How did the Bucks get 2 starters? They weren't. They also.
I mean, it's Giannis and Dame.
It is Giannis and Dame, and then honestly, but with these reserves, I agree. I think
for the East.
Yeah, nothing too controversial.
Brunson, Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Bam, Randall, who's not gonna play, and Maxey and Banchero. I honestly agree with Banchero making it. They probably could have put Trae Young, but honestly, that's the only argument in terms of the East starters. Trae Young was the only guy that I feel like they left out. Yeah. I know there was some Scotty Barnes buzz, but I'm sorry, the Raptors aren't good enough for them to have an All-Star. They're 15 games under 500.
Yeah, no complaints. I think the most frustration that people have is from the Western reserves.
Yeah.
So let's do the West.
So LeBron, KD, Jokic, Luka, SGA. Perfect starting 5.
Yeah.
Perfect starting 5 there.
Absolutely.
And then the reserves, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Stephen Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, Paul George, and Karl Anthony Towns. I think the only issue with that is I would have put Sabonis instead of Karl Anthony Towns.
Sabonis.
I think Paul George and Kawhi both deserved it. That's what I'll say.
What about Fox? You think Fox was snubbed at all?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You could have put either of the Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for neither of them to make it, I know they're not the Kings from last year, but they're still good.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit unfair. I think bro, if there's 2 Lakers in there, then
but it's the Lakers. I know.
Give them one king.
Well, LeBron always leads in votes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like but honestly, I don't care about the regular season anymore. I mean the All-Star game anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. But any final
It's never
closing
really
thoughts?
been my big thing. But yeah,
Last few years, it's just
there's some people who like it, so I hope they enjoy it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they got what they wanted.
Any final closing thoughts, guys, before we close out the show for today?
Let's root for a good Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Nothing except it's great to be back and keep watching our feed. We're going to have interviews and radio episodes.
It's great to be back. We'll have interviews. We'll have regular episodes here every Monday, 3 to 4. We'll catch you guys next time. Next time we'll probably be on air. We'll probably be 3 weeks from today. Unless anything changes, we'll let you know. But have a good one, guys, and take care.